Okay, I'm here to show you my first Megabase. My goal here was a train-based system using LTN. Unfortunately, well, I'm actually going to show you my mods here, just so you see what I'm using. I tried to focus on quality of life mods, not necessarily mods that changed the what I could do in the game. So take a look at my mod list here. I had a disable LTM manager. I haven't played in a while, and I'm having issues with it, and I don't know why. Unfortunately, that will limit my ability to show off my LTN-based base, but I will do my best. Now, I ended up with some issues. Like I said, my LTM manager stopped working, and I've kind of built a base that should be providing 10,000 science per minute, but in reality, I'm going to show you with one of my mods up here in the top left. In reality, I'm getting about around 5,000 science per minute, maybe even less with the white science, which is, well, it's hard to read right now. It looks like there's been some churn. I've been having some issues with that, which I'll show you in a bit. Um, but there's a lot of my base is also not running at full capacity, and I just haven't been able to figure out what's wrong, and I've kind of lost motivation, so I figured I would show off what I did build, and if anybody has any ideas, let me know. But I'm going to go to this mode here. We're going to show you, let's zoom out and look at the base. So I'm running about, almost 30 updates per second. That is with biters. Well, you see there's some that have come back here, but I've mostly deleted the biters. And I think actually most of those are not there anymore. Well, I do have to delete them from time to time because they come back, but that's without biters. About 30 frames per second. It was doing pretty well for a while, but I think the train pathing is a real problem. For me, I have 653 trains and 1,725 stations. However, a lot of trains are currently not being fully occupied. In fact, you can see on the right here, these are a bunch of my depots. And you see a lot of trains stacked up there. In fact, there's 282 trains currently going to or from a four-car depot. So I guess I should talk a little bit about my train setup. I have one-car trains. I have four-car trains. And my four-car trains are the standard. And my one-car trains are for obviously smaller loads. And you can see how I name my stations. I have, like this is red circuit drop off for where I make ammo. And then if I scroll down, you'll see this is any station that provides oil. So, like I said, this is LTN based system, which means I have actually tried to build every single thing I need with LTN and with trains. So going back to here, I do have my original base somewhere down in here. There it is. That's my original base. I haven't had the time to go through and delete, wipe it all out yet. But I am generally not using anything from there, including there's no central mall. And that's something that I think is unique what I did. So what do I do instead of a mall? Well, I have modules inside my grid here that build anything I need. Like for example, this builds assembler 3s. And it also builds beacons down here. And it builds, what else here? There's some miners. And there's the assembler 3 right here. Okay, and what it does is it builds those things and it delivers them out to stations. One-car stations in this case. Look down here. So I've got a station here that has beacons. I have a station over. That's you can see this is copper plates in. This is beacons out. This is assembly 3s out. And each of these has their own stop using LTN. I also have a little resource meter here that shows me how full the stations are. So I have these stations are all pretty full. You see there's nothing really happening in this whole module here. So that's an example of one of my modules. Here's a LTN depot module. And what I've done with these modules is and I know it's kind of messy now, but I typically go in and fill in solar and accumulators before I make copies. So most of the stuff you see will be filled in. So here's a nuclear power module with 8 cores. Also down here, it makes nuclear fuel. I kind of did everything by inputs and outputs, so I tried to find common inputs and group things together. So this makes nuclear fuel. It processes uranium. So basically, you bring uranium in, you bring rocket fuel in, and it makes nuclear fuel. You also bring regular ammo in, and it makes the uranium ammo, for example. Okay. I'm going to get just basic smelting. So copper or iron ore comes in, and iron plates go out. Okay. So I mean, here's an example. Back to the no central mall thing. I have this thing makes weapons. This makes artillery. This makes, and some of these might ended up being overkill. I didn't do a lot of ratios on, I mean, how many artillery do I really need? Again, I kind of group things, but different areas. I mean, this one uses concrete, so you'll see it makes artillery. It makes nuclear reactor pieces, all here, steam turbines, and again, all of those things actually come out with these little one-car output. Now, not everything's a one-car output. I didn't really mention it, but when I go back over here to the smelting, these are 4-car outputs here. To support smaller, let me see here. Sometimes I'll actually have a combination of 1-car and 4-car outputs for certain things. Here's this makes pipes and pumps and tanks and everything. So just to give you examples of some of the different modules. Then I have the modules that are going to be used for making science. So I've got steel smelting, which is the same as the other smelter setup you saw before. I've got low density. I've got oil refining, which, this is obviously, as usual, one of my more advanced modules. I have a lot of circuitry here, actually. I can come in here and set, I can't do it on satellite view. With this little constant combinator, I can actually set which outputs I want to kind of favor: plastic, sulfur, rocket fuel, or lubricant. And I can also see up here the how full each of my different tanks are here. So it looks like right now I'm fullest on heavy oil. So everything has, you can see stations I can have on each edge. I can have 2 4-car stations, or I can have 4 1-car stations, or I can have 1 4-car and 2 1-cars. And that all fits on each edge of these fixed modules. Then I have my tracks, and I have, again, solar within my track setups. I've been told I have too many places for trains to switch. I have too many roundabouts and too many path switchers, and maybe that's one of my UPS problems is there's a lot of UPS spent on train pathing, and maybe that's part of it. Another reason why I've kind of stopped building this base is when I construct new tracks, my UPS slows down to under 5, and that just gets really annoying because I need to build a lot of tracks to keep building the base. Actually, you'll see out here, I ended up doing a lot of solar with no tracks at all, just because I don't want to deal with the UPS slow down building all that railroad out there. So that's what that is. Okay, what else can I show you? Here's a typical, so here's some of my miners, and I have, now I don't typically use stackers. That was one of my designs, is you see there's no stackers at all on my modules. I do have stackers out here on my resources so that trains can fill up here, and I can get more throughput because it's just hard to keep trains coming fast enough. However, you'll see in practice, I think right now things are not running, unfortunately, fully. Obviously, things aren't running full speed, so we don't have trains stacking up here currently. But I have had that in the past. But here you see a copper smelter, and right now I had 2 output trains and 1 input train all here at the same time. I will set train limit, the LTN train limit, to 1, 2, or 3, depending on kind of how quickly the module processes the raw inputs. So here's just a lot of this out here is a lot of smelting, refining, and then I even have a blue science out here. So my science is done with individual modules, take in the resources, and then they make the science, and all the science comes out on single car output stations here. And LTN figures out where those are going to go. Let's see. Okay. Well, let me talk about something else that's unique for my base. Back to that no central mall. So what I have is I have remote malls. Here's one right here. I use a little info icon to remind myself where they are. So this is a remote mall. Effectively, it uses LTN, which I have actually here. It uses LTN to request quantities based on a global setting I have that tells how much of each thing we want in each mall. And then you'll see I have some robo ports here, and I have an LTN station. And effectively, this will request 1-car trains for anything that is short on. And if I had LTN Manager working right now, I'd be able to pop up and show you that. I can show you, if you look at the bottom right, these are all the things it has. It has plenty of all these resources, so it's not currently requesting anything. Nothing's coming in. But what's neat is if I come in here with my Robotron and, my Spidertron, and pick up a bunch of resources, then pretty quickly trains will start showing up just to refill this remote depot. So the idea is I have no central mall. I don't have to go back home to a central point to refill. I can just go to any one of these stations and I can refill. I'll show you that in a second. That's how that works. There's also a passenger train sitting here as well. And the passenger train is pretty simple. It just is configured to go to the passenger terminal. And then if I hop in, I can just give it a temporary route and I can go somewhere else. So the problem I'm having right now, I will show you, is these low density structures. So this module I'm in right here makes just satellites. That's all it makes here. And you'll see the low density structure train comes in. And I should probably redesign this to make it a 4-size train, but right now it's a 1-size train. But I have a train limit here set to 4. And at no time is there 4 trains ever coming here. In fact, if I click on the station now, there's actually 2 cars heading here. But you see, one of them is... Actually, I think one just left that's going back to the depot. And one just leaving the depot. So with a train limit of 4, and with, I think, 3 different stations providing here, we can look in the station list. I'm going to go here to the... So there's 3 modules that produce... Each module produces a full-size train of low-density modules and a 1-car version. And there's 3 of them out there, and if I had LTN Manager working, I could pull it up and look. But they all have plenty of modules. We could go look at them. They all have plenty of low-density structures. So I don't understand why this is not sending more simultaneous trains. So there's only 1 right now heading here again. So as you can see, it's already run out, and that's hurting my throughput in a big way. So again, in hindsight, I probably should have designed this with a 4-car module for low density structures. I actually have, for some reason, I designed 2 inputs for green ships over here, 2 4-car inputs, and only 1 car for low density. So that might have been a mistake. So if I was motivated to keep building this, I should probably go back and rebuild that satellite thing to get better throughput. The satellites go to a launch facility, which I believe is right here. So there's my rocket silos. And again, they just output the white science, and they take in they take in the satellites and all the parts it needs to build the rockets. So there's a 4-car low density structures that's coming in there. It looked like that was kind of running low when it showed up, but didn't run out. Rocket fuel, that's another problem I've been having. So this rocket fuel is out right now, so I'm not producing enough rocket fuel. My original plan was to build all generic refineries like this and have it kind of dynamically produce what needs to produce, but the reality is that didn't work out as I got scaled too large. So I had to start building some dedicated rocket fuel only areas, which I think I remember where they are. They are somewhere, and I suppose that's another thing that I've done is I just randomly put, well, not always, but in many cases I randomly put modules in different places. And that might not be the best way to organize because then I have trouble finding where, for example, my rocket fuel. But I have some dedicated plastic only and some dedicated rocket fuel only modules, in addition to the generic refinery module, just because I just need more volume of those. Well, you get some trains moving here. This depot doesn't have a ton of trains sitting in it right now. There are 4-car and 1-car depots mixed stations within this depot kind of module. Okay, well, let me show you real quick how some of this stuff works. So let me go to the map. Where's my closest? Okay, so my closest remote depot is up here. Oh, sorry, remote mall, should I say. I do have a few groups of this is my one Spidertron that I ride around in, but I do have Attack, Spidertron, Solar, and Solar Building. This is Railroad Building. This is just general module building like factories. And then I don't know what happened on that one. I don't know where that color that is actually. I will say that once I got rid of the biters, then the red one actually is more my destruction Spidertron. Here is mice. I said I have no central mall. This is kind of like a central mall. Effectively, it works the same way as the one I was showing you, except for it just multiplies everything by, I think, by 4. This is where I configure my numbers. So you'll see down here, I'm supposed to have, there you go, I'm supposed to have 50 centrifuges in each of my remote malls. So don't know why there wasn't already 50 there actually. And then this is also where I quick build new trains. I have a little, so I have triple cargo trains here. If I need to, I can pop them down here. And then, the bots will build them for me, so if I can get new trains. I also have a whole Spidertron factory right here that builds Spidertrons and accessories. So if I ever need more Spidertrons, I have them ready to go as well. I'll explain this while we're going. It's not all that complicated. Basically, again, these green wires come in with numbers. They connect to they connect to this power pole. Okay. And then that goes down to the red wire I use internally for LTN connections. So the green wire comes into this combinator, which just multiplies it by -1, and then it comes out on the, let's see, red wire. So green wire comes in, times it by -1, goes on the red wire, which comes into the LTN, which I can hover over here, and I can see what LTN is specifying here. So, this station has, 16 water tanks, and that's a positive number, so LTN won't deliver. Where's anything we just did? I'm not seeing any negative numbers here, but I am seeing a train coming in here. So this is why LTN Manager is nice. It helps better visibility into here. But we have a few trains going on here. We've got this one. That's nuclear fuel. we have this one, which is cargo wagons, possibly coming down to me. Okay, so it's picking them up from here. So we'll see if it comes to me. And then we might have a little bit of a slowdown in the depot there. This one's, look at that, centrifuges. Finally, something's gonna go pick up centrifuges. But you see, this is kind of, don't know what's going on with that. Possibly a flaw in my depot design that was getting stuck on the way out there. So it's gonna go pick up centrifuges. What's really neat, now maybe I'll show you later if I want to record it, but if you build a new one of these depots, sorry, I keep calling depots. If you build a new one of these remote malls or remote outposts, the trains just kind of start piling up and filling them up with stuff. So I'll probably record that at the end and then I'll jump to it. So let's pick it up the centrifuges now. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there's my little train, just supplying enough cargo wagons to bring me back up to the level I'm supposed to be at, and it'll be heading back out. So that's how that works. Let's try to build a new one of these just for the fun of it. Let's go. Let's see here. I have these little quick things. Okay, I just loaded my preset, which I used as a mod for that. So it's getting rid of some of my excess stuff. I should mention that one of my other goals was I didn't want to have a giant robot network because I've had issues with that in the past. So you'll see here that typically these modules don't touch with the roboports at all. And ironically, I don't use any robots at all in many of these modules. So arguably I didn't need to have them at all. But sometimes I do have roboports for certain purposes that do cause, well, I'm sorry, this will cause connections. So effectively, you see that having these roboports here have now connected this into a double wide module. And then I have roboports over here for the depots that have storage containers in case I have a system here. If the train arrives at the depot with cargo left over, which should never happen, I unload the cargo and it sets off an alarm, and the robots help clean it up. So that's how that works. So let me hop in this train, and let's just go somewhere that doesn't have a module yet. We'll go to here. It doesn't have a remote mall or outpost. Now, usually I plan ahead on these things, so we'll just I would build a new block. I could build a new railroad block, but then you'd have to sit there and wait to see how slow everything gets when I do that. So I think I'm just going to, let's just do this. We are going to create a deconstruction planner. We're going to get rid of solar. Okay. Oh, I should have got rid of these two. Let's see here. Okay. So then I have a. Let's see. Here we go. Oh yeah, doesn't like these tracks. Okay. So you see the slowdown because I touched the tracks, because I think it causes repathing to start happening. So I'm down to 10 updates per second, 9, 7. So that was an example of what happens there with, yeah. So here's my, it's not billing this normal. Having some signal conflicts too. See how slow that it is. Okay. So it's going to start getting real slow as it builds some of these new tracks now and some signals. Well, it's not in the best place because there's no way. Here we're just gonna, I'm not really particular right now, we're just gonna get rid of that. Normally I build these in whole grids. I'm doing everything a little odd right now. So you're gonna see it gets real slow here, down to 16, 14 updates per second. Actually not doing too bad right now. Maybe it's because this is kind of out in the corner. Yeah. How slow it gets. And my inventory's filling up. And yep, we're almost done there. Oh boy, it's glad I got rid of all those. Well, this will start. Well, you know, we don't. Okay, that's what you do. So I'm going to go in here. Actually, I'm going to go here. Actually, I have some logistics robots. There we go. So they're going to start unloading me. And that should trigger the station to start working, assuming I have everything I need to build a station, which I probably don't have. Let's see. Well, oh, station. So because the stations are all named the same, you know, it'll say there's one coming, there's, you know, one going to Outpost Mall, but I don't know if it's this one or not. But the light, there you go. The light indicates that there is a train coming, this one specifically. So you see I'm missing some construction. I'm missing 361 yellow chests, some concrete, some signals, looks like. I don't know if it's all here, but that stuff will eventually start showing up here. Look at now, we've got more trains going. And I have this has a train limit of 6. I saw 6 trains. They'll probably all come in here. And the reason it's 6 is because I can fit 6 down. Well, I don't think I can fit exactly 6. I can fit 4, but I like to put a couple extra so that you can have trains kind of on their way. So pretty soon we're going to start seeing trains showing up here. Takes a bit. But you know, this is not supposed to be a real-time thing. Normally, you know, the stuff's already there. That's the whole point. When I need something, it's already been staged there. So I just kind of build them. If you look back in the map, I don't remember how my keys are mapped here. You see, I have little stations, those little info symbols. There's one there. I have them kind of spread around so that I have stuff when I need it. It's cool when the trains start actually showing up, which should be happening soon here. We have 50 logistics robots, so they'll be bringing more of those as well. Here, just for the fun of it, I'm going to up this train limit to a lot higher just for demonstration purposes. Okay, there we go. We brought some miners. Okay, well, I just made a big mess because I don't have that many single car trains because I don't use that many of them. And so we'll put that back down to less. But we're about to start. Sorry about all the error messages. About to start seeing. Okay, there you go. We got some furnaces showing up. So this is actually the only place in my base where I use logistic bots to assist with unloading trains. But it was simpler that way, so I only have to have one type of chest here, and they don't fill up. So there you go. No, that's some of the first batch. Oh, there we go, more. Some pump jacks. Now, see, not many of them. It just brings as many as it needs. These will be pretty quick, too. There you go. Mining productivity, 73. I should show... yeah, this is 321 hours of playtime. Now, keep in mind, almost everything you see was designed in that 321 hours. So I did borrow some blueprints here and there for, you know, maybe possibly for my smelter setups and maybe some of my science setups, stuff like that. But most of this, everything I built in that 321 hours. There you go. You see, we got some substations. That's how this works. I don't know what was up with the other one that I was trying to do earlier that didn't work, but this one's working nicely. It does take a bit to get going, and that's where that train limit comes in. Is you know, for building a new outpost mall, a train limit of 6 probably is just too low. It slows things down. You see, I mean, nothing's stacking up at this point, but if you kept it that way all the time, I guess you'd risk having an issue. I can still consider. I guess it's up to 8, but I don't know how many single trains I have that are not busy. So this looks like there's just 6 trains at the depot or heading to the depot right now. Okay, we got a little stacking up. There we go. And are there more? Still only 50 logistics robots. Eventually, a train will show up with some more logistics robots as well, so there's more of them here. but there's no priority system, so it just kind of shows up in pretty much random orders. Because it only could send so many trains at once, and I don't know how it decides which ones to send first. So eventually, there'll be a logistics one. There we got red belts, all kinds of stuff here. See, only having 50 robots is definitely slowing me down. Starting to get some. Now we got some overflow into the main tracks, but in practice, that's one of the reasons why I have the roundabouts and the little cutovers and stuff. Is typically a little train sticking out on the main tracks is not going to cause a big issue. And it's probably pretty obvious, but if I go up here, see they're really starting to stack up now. Oh, we got some stacking up around the corner too. That's okay. That's kind of how this is designed to work. So it shouldn't really cause any issues. But I have a requester chest here that just requests logistics bots so that it can start filling up the roboports. Now, the number of bots that are in the roboports is considered in the calculation when it figures out how many to ask for. So this is really starting to slow down here. Ooh, see they're stacking up. Up here. Oh, there's some logistics bots on the way right there. Now let's get that in there and see what happens. Wish I could prioritize it, but I can't. Well, I could cheat. This guy's coming. Okay. We'll be there soon. Let's think about manually unloading them. Which I could do. Let me just take a couple. Okay. By the time I get them out there, I did the wrong thing. It's going to be... there we go. If I want to get fancy, I could have the train limit somehow scale based on how many logistics robots I have. There we go, starting to unload things faster. Oh, for some reason our UPS is down to 10. I don't really know why, actually. So let's look at the map view here. So you can see the trains. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 that are stacked up outside of the actual official waiting area. But that's because I increased that limit beyond what it should have been, just to speed things up here. Okay, now we're about to have a bunch of logistics bots coming in, so the whole train full. So I wonder if it'll get noticeably faster once we have those. Okay, here it comes. So those should mostly, well, they brought some to me, it looks like, but mostly those should be going right. Local. Now we have 222 logistics robots. So yeah, we've 400 is how many? Well, that's weird. I thought I was supposed to have 400. So I mean, we even stock little things like here's copper plates, just because I like to have them for kind of handcrafting. So it brings them in. So that's how that works. I'll just quick look through my. So I do use this standard balancer book, which I found really helpful. But almost a lot of other stuff was my own. So I've got different stations that I put onto the edges of the modules, and then I have some of these ones. This is my solar block, oil refining, green circuits, power plant. This is my LTN depot, red circuits, smelting, low density structures. This my what we call the space center, plastics, rocket control units, and then some of the sciences, blue circuits. This is what I call automation, so just belts and inserters. And this is this is just like a standard layout of robo ports to cover the inside of the grid, and then my battery production. Some of those. I also, there's some landfill I have in here, and some train. Oh yeah, I do have this. This is like 4 whole blocks. It's just solar. And then I have different kinds of stations, but I have these stacker stations here. And these are just for putting inside of the grid. I used to have artillery outposts. Worked the same way. You'd pop it down, the trains would show up and deliver artillery shells, but now I don't have biters. I haven't been building them anymore. My resource monitors. And that's about it. Oh yeah, I guess I should mention again before I had. Actually, let's go back here. Before I got rid of the biters, I also had this one. So this was actually this was here to supply supplies for the walls. So effectively, there would be a robo port network with construction bots, and I would have these kind of distributed along my outer defenses, and then trains would come in, unload items, and then the construction robots would use that to repair my defenses and keep the biters out. So that was a couple of the other ones which I don't really use anymore, but they were really helpful when I had them. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Bye.